Hello there, Pat Mcdonald, week 4 assignment. Miss Tracy, you asked us to find and recite a pop culture speech. I chose to go with President Bush's address to a joint Congress. That's the House and the Senate. The date would be September 20th, 2001. I did not join the military because of what happened on September 11th. I happened to join 12 days before that. But September 11th is the main reason I spent about 4.5 years of my adulthood overseas in a third world country, chasing after these people. So again, September 20th, 2001, President Bush's address to a joint Congress. Mr. Speaker, President Pro Tem, members of Congress and fellow Americans. In the normal course of events, presidents come to this chamber to report the State of the Union. Tonight, no such report is needed. It has already been delivered by the American people. We have seen in the courage of passengers who rush terrors to save others on the ground. Passengers like an exceptional man named Todd Beamer. If you'd please help me welcome his beautiful wife, Lisa Beamer, here tonight. We have seen the state of our union and the endurance of workers working past exhaustion. We have seen in the unfurling of flags, lighting of candles, giving of blood, and the saying of prayers in English, Hebrew, and Arabic. We have seen the decency and the loving of and the giving of people who have made the grief of strangers their very own. My fellow citizens, for the last 9 days, the entire world has seen for itself the state of our union, and it is strong. Tonight, we are a country awakened to danger and called to defend freedom. Our grief has turned to anger, and anger to resolution. Whether to bring our enemies to justice or bring justice to our enemies, justice will be done. I thank the Congress for its leadership at such an important time. All of America was touched on the evening of tragedy, and to see Republicans and Democrats alike joined together on the steps of the Capitol saying, "God bless America." And you did more than sing, you acted by delivering $40 billion to rebuild our communities and meet the needs of our military. Speaker Hassert, Minority Leader Gephardt, Majority Leader Daschle, and Senator Lott, I thank you for your friendship, for your leadership, and for your service to our country. And on behalf of the American people, I thank the world for its outpouring of support. America will never forget the sounds of our national anthem being played at Buckingham Palace, on the streets of Paris, and at Berlin's Brandenburg Gate. We will not forget South Korean children gathering to pray outside our embassy in Seoul, or the prayers of sympathy offered at a mosque in Cairo. We will not forget moments of silence and days of mourning in Australia, Africa, and Latin America. Nor will we forget the citizens of 80 other nations who died with our own. Dozens of Pakistanis, more than 130 Israelis, more than 250 citizens of India, men and women of El Salvador, Iran, Mexico, Japan, and hundreds of British citizens. America has no truer friend than Great Britain. Once again, we are joined together in a great cause. I'm so honored that the British Prime Minister has crossed the ocean to show his unity with America. Thank you for coming, friend. Thank you. On September 11th, enemies of freedom committed an act of war against our country. Americans have known war, but for the past 136 years, they have not seen war on our soil except for one Sunday in 1941. Americans have known the casualties of war, but not at the center of a great city on a peaceful morning. Americans have known surprise attacks, but never before on thousands of civilians. All of this was brought upon us in a single day, and night fell on a different world, a world where freedom itself was under attack. Americans have many questions tonight. Americans are asking, who attacked our country? The evidence we have gathered all points to a collection of loosely affiliated terrorist organizations known as Al-Qaeda. They are some of the murderers indicted for bombing U.S. embassies in Tanzania, Kenya, and are responsible for bombing the USS Cole. Al-Qaeda is to terror what the mafia is to crime, but its goal is not to make money. Its goal is remaking the world and imposing its radical beliefs on people everywhere. The terrorists practice a fringe form of Islamic extremism that is rejected by Muslim scholars and the vast majority of Muslim clerics, a fringe movement that prevents the peaceful teaching of Islam. The terrorist directive commands them to kill Christians and Jews, to kill all Americans, and make no distinction among military and civilians, including women and children. The group and its leader, a person named Osama bin Laden, are linked to many terror organizations in different countries, including the Egyptian Islamic Jihad and the Islamic movement of Uzbekistan. There are thousands of these terrorists in more than 60 countries. They are recruited from their own nations and neighborhoods and brought to camps in places like Afghanistan, where they are trained in tactics of terror. They are sent back to their homes or sent to hide in countries around the world to plot evil and destruction. The leadership of Al-Qaeda has great influence in Afghanistan and supports the Taliban regime in controlling most of that country. In Afghanistan, we see Al-Qaeda's vision for the world. Afghanistan's people have been brutalized. Many are starving and many have fled. Women are not allowed to attend school. You can be jailed for owning a television. Religion can be practiced only as leaders dictate. A man can be jailed in Afghanistan for his beard not being long enough. The United States respects the people of Afghanistan. After all, we are currently its largest source of humanitarian aid, but we condemn the Taliban regime. It is only repressing its own people and is threatening people everywhere by sponsoring and sheltering and supplying terrorists. By aiding and abetting murder, the Taliban regime is committing murder. And tonight, the United States of America makes the following demands to the Taliban. Deliver to United States authorities all the leaders of Al-Qaeda who hide in your land. Release all foreign nationals, including American citizens who have unjustly imprisoned. Protect foreign journalists, diplomats, and aid workers in your country. Close immediately and permanently every terrorist training camp in Afghanistan and hand over every terrorist and every person and their support structure to appropriate authorities. Give the United States full access to terrorist training camps so we can make sure they are no longer operating. These demands are not open to negotiation or discussion. The Taliban must act and act immediately. They will hand over the terrorists or they will share their same fate. This speech goes on for 30-some minutes with the president talking about his demands and how he wants our country to come to stand up and come together. I chose this because the speech touched me. You know, I think we all remember where we were that morning. I was laying in bed and my father woke me up and he said, you know, son, we're going to war. And when you know it, I left for boot camp some 4 weeks later after that. So thank you for your time, and I hope everybody has a good week. Thank you.